What's up, people? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and like put a title in the video since the phone was acting crazy. I mean, not acting crazy, but it probably just needed to clear out some of the some space up. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go live. I was gonna do a regular video, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it live. About over a little over 20 minutes ago back there, I just came in contact with one of the sisters from the church. Well, where I practically grew up going into the when I joined the Adventist movement in '92. I joined the Adventist movement in '92, and they didn't recognize me because I guess she was a little older, and I stopped and I made her aware. She said she had heard about some of it, but not all of it. And we talked about the different names in the Bible and who those names and characters apply to if those names are in the Bible. So she was just I and that some of us are new to these type of things, and she said, well, that's what I was taught when I was coming up, and stuff like that. And I have to admit too is that I was in the Adventist church and I was very zealous and zeal. I had a great zeal too. I was like that too. You know what I mean? Did I depart from the Bible? No. Did I depart from religion? Yes, I did. Religion has nothing to do with the Bible. The Bible was the religion was handed down and given to us by slave masters, which means they got a lot of the stuff from the Bible, but they quoted the slave master quoted scriptures and things out of context and fed us those things in slavery. And that's where the religion come in at, like a belief, and people formed it into their own way of thinking, and this is the reason why it happened like this. And so we got into the names, right? The names. I say, well, every name in the Bible has a meaning, and if anytime something is identified in the Bible, especially if God put it in there, it's for a reason. You see what I'm saying? So she said that, well, I don't get caught up in names and all that type of stuff, and this and that and the third, which they are. I can understand they talking about the titles, this and title that, and all that kind of stuff, but I gave her an example, and I told her I explained myself like this here. Because they remember how zealous I was, and I was fake, in the Adventist church or whatever. But I got out of the movement in 2014. I left it. So I was sitting back there in the church one day, and I was like, you know what? Something just told me, man, why don't you just get up and get on up out of here? And I did. That was in 2014. I think I was like about 40 years old, straight 40. And I left. And I didn't come, you know what I'm saying? I left and didn't come back. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand, and I did not know that I was going to come into truth like this. You know what I'm saying? So she said, begin to say, well, I don't get caught up in names, and I don't get caught up in this and that and the third. Then I used the illustration and went back when I first came in encounter with her. Because she said she didn't know I was back here. Uh, I said, yeah, we've been back here since 2019. And she said, well, I don't get caught up in names. I said, well, let me ask you this here. If somebody would call your name, if somebody would just call your name, call you another name, you wouldn't respond to that. You're not going to respond to somebody calling your name something else. If they call it, you're not going to respond to it because you know that's not your name. So I was letting her know when God put names in the Bible and tribes in the Bible, it helps identify who you are. That's how everybody's identified by a name. You see what I'm saying? So I was letting her know is that the names and all of that do count because it does matter. But we've been taught in the Christian church that these things does not matter. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was actually telling her. And this and that and the third. She said, and then I went to giving her scriptures. She said, well, you think this not? I don't think she was saying things. I don't think it's going to be a separate heaven. And I think that I knew where she was going at. It's not going to be a separate heaven. I don't care what color you is. You're not going to be, God ain't going to have these people over here and these people over here. Everybody going to be one. That's because they reading scriptures and not reading scriptures in context. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you like, for example, if you go to Acts chapter 17, I think it's 17, I believe. Acts chapter 17 and verse 26, he said, have made 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 us one blood of all nations. You see what I'm saying? When he says he have made one blood of all nations, right? In Acts 17 and 26, right? Now, the problem is a lot of our people, which I didn't know how to do, I did not know how to context the scriptures. We just read things in the Bible and we just leave it right there, and we don't really take time to actually study the context, which I understood where she was coming from, but I'm not trying to make it like that. I'm not trying to disrespect my leaders and things of that nature and the people who gave me what they knew and what they had. You see what I'm saying? So uh, I didn't want to stay there and like I'm like trying to like push the person and all that kind of stuff. I just said, well, I'll see you later at a something like that. We'll talk at another time or whatever. Um, but I was trying to throw in some key points to it to let the person know if anything that's in the Bible is important. Whatever is not in the Bible, that means it's not important. You see what I'm saying? Like just like whatever if you cleaning out your house, whatever you throw away and you don't want in your house, that stuff not important to you, right? Whatever's not important to you, you ain't gonna want it in your house. You see what I'm saying? So whatever you want to keep, and that's if you say I want to keep these things, I don't want to throw these away. I want to always keep these. That means you letting me know that that values to you. That's important. If it didn't matter, why would you say no? I want to hold on to this because it's important. So that's what the illustration that I was using because she was saying I don't think God's gonna have this be a separate heaven up there, and I don't think it's gonna be. But what they was missing was, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, y'all. Um, let's address Acts chapter 17 and 26, where he said, "Well, he had made of one blood of all nations." One blood of all nations. Uh, Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1 would be the context to that who that all nation applies to. I mean, it says in Deuteronomy 1:1, "These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel." Right, and then you go to Acts chapter um, 2 and verse 21. And you read down 21, 22, it talks about the men of Israel. You see what I'm saying? So when you read, anytime you read something in the Bible, all of the people of Israel, and you go and you read a scripture in the New Testament where it says he have read of one blood of all nations. He have I'm gonna read it when I go home. He has made one blood of all nations. That's talking about the people, the saints, the special people that he chosen. You see what I'm saying? Because if the people that he chose is not important, then why would he make that distinguish that and make a differentiations in the Bible? Why would he make a difference and split a difference between these are my people and over here Esau is not my people, but Jacob, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, the Hebrews, those people are important to me. He made it clear and he specified it all throughout from Genesis to Revelation. You go in Revelation chapter 21 verse 12, and the names written thereon are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So that's telling you right there that the names are important because those are the only names that he mentioned. He didn't mention nothing about the names written thereon or the 12 tribes and the more. He didn't say the Moabites and the Edomite. All those names are going to be that's going to be written on them gates is Esau and the Hittites. He didn't say that. He said the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Right? So that's what I was trying to let her know. Because I said, if anything that's in the Bible, you want to look into it. But if it's not in the Bible, if you go and you look up some things and that stuff, you don't see it in the Bible, then why are you following it? And so that's what I was trying to let the person know, because they knew how devout and how passionate I was about the faith and the Seventh Day Adventist faith when I was part of it, the movement. I joined the movement in '92. I was 17 years old. You see what I'm saying? And I got out of the movement in 2014. I was straight 40 years old at that time when I got out. Yep. 2014, I was 40. 2013, I was 39. So you calculate 2014 to 2024. Yeah, that's been like almost 9 years ago. Close to 10 years probably. You know. So that's what I was trying to let her know. And because she said, and then I said, well, let me tell you something about when she tried to come to the point of saying, oh, well, I don't think it's going to be a separate heaven and this over here for these people and that. I said, in a way, it is because you're going to have the Israelites, the God's chosen people at the top, and you're going to have the other nations, they're going to be servitude. They're going to be serving to the Israelites in heaven. And I said that. I said, and the Bible said he going to rule, the Israelites going to rule the other nations with a rod of iron. You know what I'm saying? Rod of iron. And I said, that's in Revelation chapter 2 and verse 27, 26 and 27. And then that's when she said, oh, I'm going to have to look into that. Yeah, and I left it right. I left it at that, and I departed because I guess I guess I didn't, was led not to say too much at one time. So I just left. So it was a pretty good conversation experience, just for a few minutes. It wasn't long. Yeah. I mean, I like giving people the right information. I love doing that, bring awareness and stuff like that, blowing a trumpet and warning my people. I said that's what they would make believe and to make you say or think. She said, well, that was the way, I don't know if I think I said that already, but she said, well, it was the way I was taught. I said, well, we all was taught certain things, but we still have to go back and correct ourselves. That's why there's a thing called in Hebrews chapter 9 and verse, I think it's 14, I think. Hebrews 9 and 14. He says, you have need that one teach you again. If you go read that, which had the first articles of God. The articles of God would be the scriptures. He said, you have need that one teach you again. So if he said you have need that one teach you again, he's actually warning you and telling you that sometimes we have been, there are certain things that we have been told and we have been taught and told, but a lot of time most of the time, we have to go back and recorrect ourselves. If it's certain things, because I didn't get a chance to say that part. Can you find African American in the Bible? You can't find those terms in the Bible. You can't even find Creole in the Bible. You can't find Haitian in the Bible. So there is a identical name that fit those name characteristics. Everybody that has a name, that we're called names outside of what that Bible say we are. What matters is what God calls you. And that's what I was trying to get off into. It doesn't matter what man calls you, it matters what God calls you. So if you call yourself African American and you can't go and find that in the Bible, then who is you calling your name after? You calling your name after the slave master. The slave masters would be the Egyptians, the Hamites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, the Palestinians, which are the Arabs, which will be Ishmael, and all of those are the slave masters, that created all those different religions and stuff. So you're naming yourself after a people in the Bible that hate your guts. You know what I'm saying? Which, whoa, yeah, y'all saw that? one of them looked like one of them worst ones too. Yeah, but anyway, uh, yeah, So anyway, I was trying to let her know that those names are important, you know. And I was letting her know in so many words, you're probably gonna have to just look off into that. Yeah, I can understand we was taught certain things, but if like that, for example, whatever people call themselves, you have to question yourself and say, wait a minute, are these things in the Bible? And I think what's more important is what you see in the Bible, not what you see that society is deeming you as. You know, if God is more important in your life, and you saying all I want to do. So if you, because she said, I think she said, what did she say? She said, well, um, I wish. No, she said, my bad. Hold on. All I want to do, I don't care what tribe I am. I don't care. I just want to make it in. I said, well, that's important. That you said the key word when you said that. It doesn't matter because that's the way I feel. Being part of the have those names or something, have one. It doesn't matter which one you are. That's the way I see it. As long as is you included in that in that 12 tribe. You know what I'm saying? That's what's important. That. But if you say, well, names are not important, that's a whole nother story. If something like that is being said, because it does matter. Because anything that's in the Bible, somebody else says something different, then that would be a big concern. And at that point, you have to tell yourself, wait a minute, no, it does matter. Because it matters because the Bible is speaking something totally contrary against that. So you going contrary to what's written right here. You know what I mean? Um, so contrary is something that's it's not true. Something that it don't match up. It's not physically matching up with what's there. So one is contrary to the other one. You know, you don't want nothing that's contrary to the truth. But you see what I'm saying? Because if you go in the Bible and you read this where it says remember, it says remember or whatever. Yeah, you go and you read something in the Bible where it tells you that remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, right? If God comes out, you hear those words remember, and somebody else come along and say, well, it doesn't matter. Which one would you believe? What the book say, or what this person is saying and telling you it doesn't matter? Because it does matter. But you have a lot of people that will say things like, well, I'm not caught up into that. It's not important to me. Why would it not be important? If it's in the Bible, it's some kind. It's got to be very important. It is very important if it's written there in the Bible. So that's why in Matthew it said that Matthew's chapter 1 verses 4, it said, "It is written, man should not live by bread alone, right? But by every word that comes out of the mouth of God." It is written. It always say it is written. When something is written down, somebody write out a letter. It ain't for nobody else. It does matter who gets that letter. If that letter gets to the wrong person, that letter is not for them. If you writing a letter to somebody that you really care about, and somebody else get that letter, you're going to feel some type of way. You're going to be like, damn, that letter is not for him. This letter is for the person that I hold dear to my spirit. So in the Bible, God write letters and stuff like that. He uses prophets and things is to be able to convey his message to other people. He always used them is to write stuff down. Whatever they, however, how they was inspired to write something down, they wrote it down. The reason that they wrote it down so it can be remembered, or they showing that that message that was conveyed to them at that time period is very important. That's what they showing. When you read the Bible, pay attention to that type of stuff. When you go and you read something where it says, "Thus said the Lord," as it is written, and all of that. Just like if you go and you read in what's that scripture in Romans 9:13? It says, "As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated." Things like that, as it is written. Now, why would Paul come and rewrite that? Because the Apostle Paul wrote that because he was speaking to the Gentiles. Now, what? Don't get tricky. Don't feel like you're getting tricked over that, because there's a difference between the people who are Gentiles and the people who was in a Gentile state of mind. You see what I'm saying? The people that who is in a Gentile state of mind are those who are not original natural Gentiles by birth or by blood, but they have been uh, conditioned into a certain way of thinking. Their mindset started wandering off into worshiping idols. So they became Gentiles, not by nature, but they became Gentiles through this, through the the mindset. They changed their mindset of worshiping idols. Just like when the children of Israel worshiped the golden calf, right? In Exodus 32 and 16 through 7, all of them, they was in that Gentile state of mind, meaning that they was serving and worshiping in the gods of the heathens, right? And so they became into a Gentile state of mind. They started, it was their mindset. Just like today, if you ask the average one of our people, what's your ethnicity? They'll say something like, I'm Cuban, I'm this and that. Can you find Cuban in the Bible? No. When you call yourself that, that means you're saying you're in a Gentile state of mind. That's what that's going into. Because if you go to First Corinthians chapter 2, and I think it's First Corinthians chapter 2 and no, First Corinthians 10 and verse 2. I think it's one of them. Now you know that you were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols. And then if you go and you look at Hosea chapter 8, Hosea 4, and I can't remember exactly, but I'm going to find it when I get home. It says Ephraim, which is the so-called Puerto Ricans, is joined to idols, let him alone. They joined themselves to the idol gods and started worshiping the other nations around them. You remember God told them, they says that they went and they did, our people went after the other gods and they started doing worse than the heathens. Y'all remember the story of Jeroboam, right? Jeroboam, how they went, Jeroboam, they was the northern kingdom, right? And the northern kingdom went off and started sacrificing their kids to idols. They was bowing down to those idols and worshiping those gods and things of that nature. And in their mind, they became in a Gentile state of mind. That's what it. So when you read something in the New Testament and it's talking about the Gentiles, usually more than likely is going into the northern kingdom who was in a Gentile state of mind. The Apostle Paul went and spoke to other Israelites who was in a Gentile state of mind. That's what he was doing. And when people read that thing Gentile in the Bible, they feel like it's talking about the natural blood of Gentiles. No, because remember, he said, you are the scatter, you as a dispersed amongst all nations. When he said, go and teach all nations, that all is talking about all of the nation of Israel according to Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1. It says, these be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel. So when you go and read that in Matthew, or Mark, or Luke, when it said, go ye into all the world, to increase the gospel to every creature. When it say every creature, a lot of people get real confused there too. Every creature on the earth. It's talking about the stock of Abraham, right? It's talking about preach the gospel to every creature. That's talking about his people. You see what I'm saying? And he said, baptizing them in the name of the Father. He didn't say baptize the universal in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Teaching them, them. Why would it say them? That means them, not all, but them. You know what I mean? Because what I'm trying to tell you, the word all doesn't mean all in the Bible. All. It doesn't mean universal. It doesn't mean the whole world. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you go and you read something in First John, it says, not only for the sins of man, but the sins of the whole world. The whole world is dealing with the world of Israel. It's talking about those people who was once lost in a Gentile state of mind. But you got people that will read one scripture and they're gonna read the context, because every verse in the Bible has a context. You know? So don't get confused about that word all Israel. Because my bad, all, the word all. Because you go to Deuteronomy, it's like I said, 1:1, it tells you, because it's giving you the context of who that all is. But because the word all doesn't mean everybody or universal or everybody in every parts of the world. It's talking about all of the people of Israel. Because he would have never addressed all Israel. So that shows you right there. And even in Matthew chapter 1:21, it said, and he shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Not the whole world. He said his people. And then he said in Galatians chapter 4 and verse 4, it says, and when the fullness of time is come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that was under the law. Meaning the people that was lawbreakers, the people that have sinned and broke his law. That's who he said, I came to save those who was breaking the law, those who have broke the law, the people that I gave the law to. These are the people that redeem them, because they are the only ones that can sin, is the Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if he died for everybody, why would he say redeem them that was under the law? That means everybody can't sin, because the laws wasn't given to everybody in the Bible. It's just like having a favorite pair of shoes. Favorite pair. You ain't gonna, everything that everybody has a favorite food. Everything can't be your favorite food. More than likely it can't. But more than likely, you have a favorite pair of shoes or your favorite car. You can have 10 cars. Out of all them 10 cars, you have your favorite one that you drive the most. Just like these shorts. I like all the other shorts that I got, but these are my favorite pair of shorts right here. Yep. These are my favorite shorts that I got on. So the children of Israel is God's favorite people. You'll read more about that in Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. He says, thou has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people. That's telling you right there that everybody is not. How is everybody up under that when he tell you are above every nation? It's impossible for everybody is to be the same. He just would have said everybody that's living. He just would have said, it doesn't matter what nationality you is. He would have said that. It doesn't matter what nationality you is. According to what what's in the Bible. So I'm gonna get up out of here and I'm gonna see y'all later. I'll come back and we'll talk some more. What can I name this video, man? Anything that is inside the Bible versus outside the Bible, it does matter. Anything that is written in the Bible, it matters. Anything that's written is not in the Bible, that you believe or that you subscribe to or whatever, if it's not in the Bible, then it's not important. But what's in the Bible is written in the Bible is important. What's outside of the Bible and you trying to enforce it into the context, it does matter. So it does matter what you embrace. It does matter what you subscribe to, because you have something that's a lie and you have something that's the truth. All right, I'm out.